Good afternoon. It is great to have you join us on another episode of Labour Forum. As you're already aware, Labour Forum is dedicated to addressing the concerns, challenges, and interests of Nigerian workers. As someone who spent decades fighting for workers' rights, it is essential that we have a platform where we could discuss issues that matter most to workers. Our focus this week is on the 2025 celebration of International Women's Day, which is actually on the 8th of March. The theme of this year's conference is For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equality, Empowerment. This year's theme calls for action that could unlock equal rights, power, and opportunities for all, and a feminist future where no one is left behind. Central to this theme and vision is empowering the next generation youths, most especially young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. It should be noted that before 1995, only 12 countries had legal sanction against domestic violence. Today, there are 1,583 legislative measures in place across 193 countries, including 354 targeting domestic violence specifically. Today, there are 112 countries with national action plans on women, peace, and security, a significant increase from only 19 in 2010. My name is Anthony Ogagmo. I welcome you to the program. We will now pause a little for Labour tidbits.
Indications have emerged that shortfalls in the salary of federal civil servant that became prominent during the January payment may have continued in February as Labour leaders engaged the federal government to find solution to anomalies. Some of the federal government workers who have received February salaries have reported the continuation of underpayment that rose in December 2024, blamed on systematic errors in the Integrated Payrolls and Personal Information System IPPIS. Some of the affected workers who spoke to newsmen on condition of anonymity accused the government of making life difficult for them in the midst of hyperinflations ravaging the country. They appealed to government to resolve the matter immediately, saying these underpayment, pay or short payment, or whatever name it is called, started in December and became pronounced in January. In a move set to reshape Nigeria's digital landscape and propel it towards its $1 trillion economic goal, the federal government has unveiled an ambitious plan for massive job creation through the ICT sector. The Nigeria Courier Information Asset Center, a state-of-the-art facility founded by Korean government, was officially commissioned at the Digital Bridge Institute in Abuja. This marks the beginning of a transformative era for Nigerians, positioning the nation as a global leader in digital innovation, economic prosperity. Leading the commissioning, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, said the initiative underscores Nigerians' commitment to building robust digital infrastructure. Also speaking, the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Aminu Madi, said the center would give the youths, entrepreneurs and professionals access to cutting-edge digital tools, research facilities, and training, equipping them to thrive in today's fourth industrial revolution, where AI big data, and IoT are reshaping the world. Digital Breed Institute, in partnership with Small Business Training Solutions, have unfolded plans to train Nigerian youth on business processing operations to make Nigeria a global leader in outsourcing jobs. Under Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa was approved the employment of 1,010 teachers for secondary schools in the state. The governor's approval came after the completion of the recruitment process by the Teaching Service Commission, which screened thousands of applicants last year. In a statement, the governor's chief press secretary, Ebenezer Adeni, said the list of successful candidates will be published online on Monday. He said it will also be displayed at the premises of the ESCOM headquarters and zonal offices across the state from Tuesday. Poultry Association of Nigeria Lagos State Chapter has urged poultry farmers in the state to drop prices of eggs following government intervention in the sector. The Pan Lagos State Chairman, Mr. Mojid Yola, made the call in an interview with newsmen on Wednesday in Lagos. Yola reiterated the association's gratefulness to the state government's intervention in the sector. He appealed to the farmers to drop the prices of eggs. Yola noted that the price of eggs had dropped at designated market hubs, but the price drop was yet to be reflected at the open market. Federal government has inaugurated the Sector Skills Council for Fashion, Leatherwares and Accessories to drive its sectoral approach to skills acquisition for national development. At the inauguration in Abuja on Thursday, the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Bugaji, expressed concerns over the high percentage of imported textiles in the country. Bugaji explained that these prompted the establishment of a 30-member council to review the industry, make it viable for national development. According to him, it's essential to equip young Nigerians with lifelong skills for self-reliance and global competitiveness. He further urged members to leverage their experience to support the government in achieving its renewed hope agenda to revitalize the textile sector.
I thank you for staying tuned. You are still listening to Labor Forum on Citizen 93.7 FM, Abuja. We would like this program to be interactive. That is why you could call us on 0903 229 797. I repeat, 0903 222 9797. You can also listen to us on live streaming on Citizen FM 93.7. Just type in Labor Forum. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng or follow us on any of our platforms. Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja. Instagram on Citizen at Citizen FM 937 and on X at Citizen 937. Today, my guest is Comrade Rita Goyit, head of the Department of Women Affairs at the headquarters of Nigerian Labour Congress. Comrade Rita, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here.
Good. So I would like us to start. What is the International Women's Day all about?
Very interesting question, comrade. And everywhere you hear people talk about International Women's Day. For us, International Women's Day is a very, very, very special day. Special day in the sense that that is the period that everybody, the whole world, is focused on the issues of women. The month of March, everybody knows that that is the month for women. And you hear it, people are beginning to imbibe it. And you say, yes, this is the month for women. And everybody recognizes this at home, in our workplaces, and everywhere. It talks about the International Women's Day. This is because other days, not because other days are not important, and other days are not days that you talk about women, but the focus is on women, and not just for the fun of it. The focus is that it's the time that we put our minds to talking about issues that advance the rights of women, issues that recognize the contribution of women. And of course, before women, of course, girls. But we are first girls before we become women. And that is the time that everybody talk. And not just talking, but also walking the talk. And trying to do something that will make you stand out to say, yes, I stand on the side of women. I support women. I support them not just because I just want to make a show out of it, but I recognize that they are important in the society. They have played very important role, and this is a time to reflect on such contribution by women. That's what makes International Women's Day special for us.
Very well. But I know that celebrating the International Women's Day has not been from the existence of Nigeria. So when did Nigeria started celebrating the International Women's Day?
Yeah, it has not always been there. There are people who have celebrated Women's Day. Let me say that. Women's Day first before International Women's Day and all of that. There were pockets of celebrations here and there and recognitions by different organizations on the status of women or what should be of importance to women. I remember that in the late 80s, the women in Nigeria took very special interest in talking about the issues of women and having conferences, sometimes yearly, to talk about issues of women and why we should focus on the issues of women and to trying to address those inequalities, to address those discrimination, to address oppressions and suppressions. Because for women, you suffer as members of the downtrodden or people who are lower down the cadre in the society. And then just for your gender, the fact that you are a woman is another sense of, another way people discriminate against you and all of that. So the focus was there. And people talk about that, and the women movement talked about that very seriously. But to come to talk about in terms of making it official and all of that, it's in the 90s. In the 90s, because people have different dates. But for me, the focus is not about the date, but the focus is that about the issues. And when this realization, when this consciousness starts, mostly you will say from the 90s is when there was this consciousness, very, very important. And for us also in the labor movement, we took that upon ourselves. But the driving force for International Women's Day and issues of women specifically came with the establishment of the National Women Commission. So the National Women Commission of the NLC was established in 2003. And so when it was established, one of the very first things that we did was to organize the International Women's Day in a very big way, nationally, where all the women trade unions came together here in Abuja in the year 2004 to celebrate the International Women's Day. And then we talked about upholding the dignity of women, recognizing our contribution as women workers, where our dignity, where there is respect, where there is appreciation for what we did. So when we trace our own history, we have just the general history, but we have our history also of women in the trade union. So for us, the day that we celebrated it the first time nationally, not that it's not been observed before, was in 2004. For us, that is our own history.
It's all right. 2004 to today is more than 2 decades. Yeah. So what will you consider to be the achievement so far?
We have achieved a lot. First, to be able to put the issues of women on the agenda of the trade union movement, to make it a priority that, look, we are women. The unions are made up of women and men, and that there is no way you can discuss issues in the trade unions without discussing the issue of women. And also that, yes, we have practical issues that concerns us as workers generally, but there are some issues that are pertinent to us as women workers. So to put the issue of women's reproductive health, women's productive rights, women and also the issues of childbearing, bringing up children, the issue of having women in the constitution, the issue of having women in leadership position, and the issue of making specific demands for women, especially in the collective bargaining agreements, because that's one thing that we have talk about as women. Because if you look at the collective bargaining agreements of most trade unions, and you will hardly see things that are women specific or are gender specific, but now making the workplace women friendly, baby friendly, having crèches and all of that are some of the things that we have been able to put on the table, and that has been taken seriously as the issues of women. You have now that when we go for meetings, you have women bring in their children, because that is very important. And when that is done, a special place is created for them. If it is not in the office where there are crèches, if it's in the hotel, everywhere we have a specific place that is designated as the crèche and all of that. In our own conferences and all of that, the NLC delegate conferences, the moment you are coming into the conference, the first place you notice is the crèche, where you usually stand out, and so that to say that yes, this is women friendly, baby friendly, and of course we recognize the rights of women, the rights of women workers and all that, and having a voice for women. And because they say the person that wears the shoes knows better where the shoes where it pinches, because you can have somebody represent you, but it is not the same as you being there. So a place for women, affirmative action for women in leadership, structures for women in all the levels of the NLC and the trade unions and all of that, and celebrating also the International Women's Day, and not also the celebration here in Nigeria, but also where issues of women are being discussed in other places on the African continent or globally. Women from the NLC and of course women from the trade unions are so recognized.
Very well. But speaking specifically for the celebration on Saturday, what are the expected activities?
There are a lot of activities that have been lined up, especially for us in the trade union movement for celebration of the International Women's Day. And you will know that one of the things that we have observed is that when you are observing a day for women, you should also be sensitive to the things that women do, and the days that women also hear. Yes, we recognize that, we celebrate it and recognize it, do the celebration on Saturday. But also the one on Saturday is low-key, because Saturdays are days that women are at home, are days that women do their domestic chores, are days that women spend with their families and all of that. But what we have done is that instead of just centralizing the celebration at the national level, we have decided that we decentralize it. So all the states the state councils of the NLC are celebrating it in different ways. Some are celebrating it with the old people home. Some are celebrating it with in the orphanage home. Some are celebrating it together with other women group. Some are having dialogue. Some are having march passes and a lot of activities. And also at the level of the trade unions as well, and which we send them circulars as as early as in January when we resume from the Christmas break, and they are filing in also their own. But most of the activities have been shifted to the 10th. Monday, the whole of this March, we have one activity or the other, happening either at the state councils of the NLC or happening at the level of the trade unions that are affiliates of the NLC. So the whole of this month is filled with activities in recognition of the role of women in society.
Very well. I would like to go on a break. But before then, there are some popular women slogans. Can you share some of them with us?
Yeah, some of the popular slogans that we have is that when there are no women, of course, no nation. And women, of course, are the ones that make up the society. Women are great, of course, no controversy that women are great. Women make all the difference, whether in our home, in our workplace, or the trade union. Women are the driving force, and women are special agents for change to make the world a better place for everybody.
Okay, we'll go on a short break. We'll be back. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. We are still on Labour Forum on Citizen 93.7 FM, Abuja. And our guest is still Rita Goyet, Head of Women at the NLC headquarters here in Abuja. Yes, I don't know whether we could go and discuss the issue of women representation in politics. What is your view on that?
Women representation in politics, we all know, it is common knowledge that it is very low compared to our male counterparts. And I know that there are efforts, a lot of efforts that have been put in place by women groups, by different women movements, and so many other things, but by the Ministry of Women Affairs, Society for National Council for Women's Society, and a lot of recommendation, even from the UN, even from us in Women in the Labour Movement, and all of that, to look at those issues. For some time, we thought that we are making a lot of progress, but you will know that now it is like the number is going down. The number is going down, and what is it? Because if you said you ask me, I will say that it is not just enough to make a pronouncement and to say we have a policy of saying 30 women's representation. It's a good one to have a policy, but what do we put in place to ensure that it comes to reality? That is the point. Because you cannot say 30% women's representation, yet there are a lot of barriers, there are a lot of hurdles, and all of that, and there are no supports, no concrete plans, no even monitoring, evaluation to make sure that we are able to do that. Because if we do that, if we don't monitor, if we don't take the right steps and put the right modalities in place, that we cannot do that. When we get the women and they are there, how do we sustain women being in that position? And have we changed our attitudes to women, that is also very, very, very important. Because if our attitudes are still the same, then we don't expect that we are going to get a result that is better than what it is. So we must change our attitude. We must also put in place modalities that will make sure that we are able to get 30% women representation at all levels, everywhere, including the political parties, including all the different arms of government and all of that, to ensure that we have women. And if we don't do that, then it will amount to mere lip service. And then if you pay lip service, then you are not going to achieve much.
Okay, I don't know. Is the issue of out-of-school children, especially girls, is it of concern to you people?
Of course, it is of concern to everybody. And at the end, every good meaning Nigerian or citizen should know that. Because if you have the girls out of school, then what do you want to expect at the end of the day? Education is key. Education is power. We need educated girls who will become educated women, who would give birth to children, and they will also value education and want the same value of education for their children. And that is very important. And it is a concern, not just for the parents who have these children, but the society, because children belong to society, and for the government, because it is the responsibility of the government, different this thing, to ensure that children stay in school, children enroll in school, children are retained in school, children are able to finish school, and not just that, they finish school and they have something to do. Because that is also the point that some people drop out of school, because they will look at it, their own other people, other children that have gone to school, that have finished. There are people who have stayed 4 years, 5 years after graduation, and there is no job to do. There's high level of unemployment. So they say to themselves, so why do we go to school? So we should also make sure that the policies that we have in place will also match the realities on ground, so that people will now be attracted, will feel a sense of belonging, that yes, if I go to school, spend all those number of years in school, and that the resources that is even used to sustain me in school, that I have an opportunity to come back and, plow that back into the society for the good of all, or for the common good, as it were.
Okay. Statistics from some part of the country have it that even more women, especially at the tertiary education level, that more girls are in school. But the issue now is they have this glass ceiling that they couldn't break through, even with all the education. So how can this be tackled? You have the same education with the men. When you get employed, there's this glass ceiling. So how do you go about that?
You see, education for me is an all-inclusive thing. And when we have education, we should look at education, both formal and informal education. Let's look at our environment, let's look at our society, let's look at the tradition, let's even look at our belief system, and let's even look at our practice. How do you value women and how do you value men? Do you still see women as property? That's when you see them as, oh, if you spend this much money on them, they will go and marry and leave you. Mm-hmm. Or do we prefer bringing up boys that we think they will remain in the family, they will bear the family name and all that? Or do we still think that, oh, the education of a woman, no matter how educated she is, that she is going to end up in the kitchen? Or do we see her as is one of those women or one of those things? And so we need, and that is very, very important. So we must educate. We must educate ourselves and we must educate our society. We must look at the kind of customs that we have, the traditions that we have. Because we always say, which one comes first? Is it the people or the culture? So the people come first, and the culture is meant for the people, and not the people that are meant for the culture. So if there is something fundamentally wrong with the culture or the kind of practice that we do, then it is the collective responsibility of all of us to come and address it. So that we value people as human beings, not based on their sex, not based on their gender, not based on this, but we value them as human beings, and everybody has something to offer. We have gifts, different gifts. We are specialized in different ways. But we must bring up children and socialize children in such a way that they will be empowered, sufficiently empowered to be independent and to also be able to put in their best in the society and in what they do.
Yes. Statistics shows that the voting population, that even more women are there to vote. So what specific sensitization are you doing among the women, especially the unenlightened, who make up the bulk of voters? What specific program do you have to enlighten these women? Because it is said that you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Even without formal education, what are you doing to empower these women so that all these things we are talking about, being a paternalistic society, the culture, whatever that suppresses women, will be a thing of the past?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what we need to do is not put on the shoulder of one person or on the shoulder of one organization, but I think it is something that we must deliberately try to do. And the issue of voting, we also need to also look at that yes, people come to vote and all of that, but at the end of the day, those votes, do they count? Because that is very, very important. Do they count? If I come out as a young woman to vote, will my vote count? If I come as a citizen of Nigeria and I vote, do my vote count? And once the people are put there, I am able to vote them and they get into power. Do they look at my issues? Do they see my issues as priority? Do they even think that they are representing me, or they are representing us, or they are representing? So once they are in power, what are the kind of things that they pursue? Because that is also very important that we look at, because that will go a long way to say how people are. We talk of voters' apathy in this country. Those are the things that lead to voters' apathy and all of that. Let it count so that people will be able to say yes confidently. I know that I'm casting my vote for A, and A will win at the end of the day. And once they are there, they will be able to pursue issues of interest to all, issues that we will be proud of. They should put the citizen first. All policies that we have must have people's or human face, and if that is done, then a lot of things will be able to be amended. But once we don't do that, we don't focus on people, then there's a big problem as to how we are. So the type of voters education or the type of civic education that we do is not just for the citizens who will go and vote, but also the leaders. That once they get there, they have the people's mandate, they should be able to deliver. They must listen to the people, they must act, and they must drive policies that are of interest to people, that will bring development and will also bring dignity to the people.
Okay. For organized labor, the issue of gender equity, how's Johnny been so far?
So far, so good. Because once upon a time, we would say that the labor movement, you would say, and I usually say that once upon a time you will say that it's a phase that is men and it's a phase that is old. But now that has changed. That has changed drastically. If you look at it, even in our activities that we do, you will know that has changed. And the presence of the National Women Commission, the State Women Committee, the youth movement, and all of that are issues of gender equality that we look at. Because we know in the labor movement that the movement is made of men and women. And that is one of our very, very strong slogans in the labor in the NLC, is that women make the union strong. And if you look at it, if you even look at most of our very strong union, you see the majority of the people there are women. Those very strong union. So the activity of women has changed, the face of the union has changed, the way we do things, including even the use of language. The use of language in the trade union movement has also changed, because we recognize that the union is for men and women, for young and old, and everybody. It must be inclusive, because the kind of the things that we do or the things that we say can exclude people. And I always say the strong point for us, the starting point, is also looking at our constitutions. And the constitutions of the trade unions, now if you look at it, the constitutions are gender sensitive. And that is a big progress in the way, and the activities that we do that. And then if you look at it, gender policies, almost all the trade unions have gender policies derived from that of the NLC. Of course, unions have their different ways of operation, and they, and all of that, but at least they adopt the main issues that need to be looked at, the issues of carrying everybody along, the issues of giving women a voice, the issues of giving the young people a voice, the issues of also negotiation. And when you are negotiating, you should also look at the issues. What issues are good for women? What issues are good for men? What issues are generally good for the working people, and not just working people, but the generality of the citizens of Nigeria, and also act as a voice for the voiceless, which is very, very important. So as trade unions, as a union, we women in the trade unions, we know we have a strong voice that we can speak for other people as well, and especially the women in the informal sector, which is growing by the day. It's bigger, much even bigger than those of us who are in the organized labor or who are in the formal sector.
Okay. The International Women's Day is on Saturday, the 8th. So, do you have any message to send to the women?
Yeah, the message is that we should always be ourselves. And once I say be ourselves, is that women are known to be builders. We build our home, we build our children, we build the community, we build our workplace, we build the society. We always make the difference wherever we are. And women are known for selfless service. That is very, very important. And that doesn't mean that we should not care for ourselves, but that we give selfless service because we expect the society to be better than what it is today, and we continue to do that. And most importantly also, I want us to build sisterhood. An injury to one is an injury to all. Lift up every sister that you see around. Support the sister that you see around, and support your own family and people around you to make the society a better place for all.
Yes, I think that's a very good place to end this program. But you will not go until we're able to play the women item. You have an item, so we are going to play it.
All around the world, women are longing
I think that's a good way to end the program today. So I must thank you, Comrade Rita Goyit, Head of Women Department, the Head of Women Department at the NLC headquarters. I think it's been nice talking to you and for your enlightenment.
It is a pleasure.
Yes. Listeners, that is our program for today on Labour Forum. Please join us tomorrow, next week, same time, same station, on Citizen 93.7 FM. Until then, it is bye for now.